I felt like the city was grinding me into a fine gray powder. Going back to school at 27 was supposed to be a fresh start, but finding a place to live was just wearing me down even more. Every apartment was a small, dark box that made my chest feel tight. The real estate agent, a tired-looking man, must have seen how desperate I was. After another bad viewing, he pulled a crumpled napkin from his pocket. "I don't usually do this," he said quietly. "But there's this American guy. Lives on top of the old Sentinel Tower. He's moving out soon. It's small, but the view, you should see it." A tower. The word alone felt like a breath of fresh air. I called the number that night. A calm, steady voice answered. His name was Julian. We made a plan to meet the next day. The old elevator groaned its way to the top. When the doors opened, he was standing there. Julian. He was taller than I'd imagined, with kind eyes and a calm way about him that made me feel a little less wound up. He led me inside. It wasn't an apartment. It was a glass box in the sky. Almost all the walls were giant windows. The city spread out below us for miles, a huge carpet of buildings and streets. It was amazing. The room was simple, with a worn leather chair, lots of books, and one big painting. It was exactly what I needed, a place where I could finally breathe. We talked for a long time about the city, my classes, the quiet noise of the tower. I told him I wanted it, my voice sounding more needy than I wanted it to. He gave a small, almost sad smile. "I'm glad," he said. "Listen, I'm sorry I don't have anything to offer you to drink. Can you come back? Maybe Friday night? We can have a real drink, talk about the rent and everything." The offer felt like more than just business. It was something else. For years, I've had a secret, a part of me that feels right, that feels like me when I wear women's clothes. It's a quiet thing, just for me. When I went back to the tower that Friday, I had my secret on. Under my jeans and shirt, I wore a black lace thong and a garter belt holding up thin black stockings. It was my own little secret, a small buzz of excitement just for me. When I got there, a bottle of good American whiskey was on the table with 2 glasses. The city lights were starting to pop on like 1,000 tiny stars. "Patrick, welcome back," Julian said, and his eyes stayed on mine for just a second too long. He poured the whiskey, which looked warm and gold in the glass. We didn't talk about the apartment. We talked about art and what it's like to feel like you don't fit in, and the strange peace of watching the world from high up. Julian was a great listener. He made you feel like he really heard you. He kept filling my glass. His own glass always seemed full. The whiskey warmed me up from the inside, and I started to feel less tense. The guy I usually pretended to be started to fade away. Sometime later, we ate. I don't remember what. I just remember Julian's voice, low and calm, and the heat growing inside me. I remember telling him about my ex-boyfriend, about how he found a pair of my underwear once and threw them at me. The look of hate on his face was burned into my mind. The story just came tumbling out of me. I never meant to tell him. I never told anyone. I looked up, waiting for him to look at me with that same hate, but his eyes were just soft. He didn't say a word. He just reached out and put his hand on top of mine. His touch sent a shock through me. "It's late," I slurred, shame washing over me. "I have to go." "You can't drive 60 kilometers like this, Patrick," he said gently. "Stay. The couch is fine." He was right. My head was swimming. I somehow made it down to the street to move my car from a paid spot to a free one, a stupidly normal thing to do on a night that was anything but normal. I woke up on the couch. Gray morning light was coming through the windows. Someone had put a thick blanket over me. For a second, I had no idea where I was. Then the night before crashed down on me. The whiskey, the story I told. His hand on mine. I felt sick with shame. What did I do? I showed this stranger the most secret, broken part of me. My first thought was my car. I had to get out of there. I hurried out of the apartment, my heart pounding, and went down to the street. The car was there. It was fine. When I went back up to get my stuff and run, Julian was awake, holding a cup of coffee, and looking out the window. "I have to go," I said, my voice all scratchy. I couldn't look at him. "Patrick," he said, his voice soft but clear, "don't run." He came over to me. I braced myself, expecting him to tell me to get out. Instead, he put his hands on my face and tilted my head up so I had to look at him. "You have nothing to be ashamed of," he whispered. And then he kissed me. It wasn't a hungry kiss, it was slow and soft, and it felt like acceptance. It felt like he was untying a knot inside me that had been there all my life. The shame was still there, but it wasn't so loud anymore. He led me to his bed. We took our clothes off slowly. It wasn't rushed or greedy. It was like we were learning about each other. He traced the strap of the garter on my leg with his finger. He wasn't weird about it. He was just gentle, like he was touching something precious. Being with him, I felt comfortable in my own skin for the first time. He touched me in a way that felt like it was fixing old hurts. High above the city, in the quiet morning, I felt like a whole person. The next 2 weeks were a strange, happy dream. We just stayed in our glass tower, away from everyone. We cooked, we talked, we were together with a quiet closeness that felt deeper than any big romance. I signed the papers. The apartment was officially mine. But we never talked about when he was actually leaving. I let myself hope that maybe this wasn't going to end. One evening, we were watching a storm come in from far away. "My flight is on Saturday," he said. His voice was so quiet I almost didn't hear it over the wind. My heart just stopped. "Flight? I thought you were just moving to another part of the city." He turned to me. I saw that same sadness in his eyes from the first day I met him. "I'm going home, to Vermont. My father's sick. He doesn't have much time." He looked down at our hands, which were tangled together. "And my ex-wife? We're going to see if we can work things out." Ex-wife. The words were like punches. And just like that, the perfect little world we had built together broke. He was leaving. He was going back to his life, to a woman, to a world where I didn't exist. All the secret things I wore, he was going back to a woman who wore them as a right. I was just a stop on his way to somewhere else. A nice story to tell. I didn't cry. I just felt cold and empty. The last few days were quiet and sad. On Saturday morning, I helped him carry his bags. We stood by the elevator, right where we first met. "The view is all yours now," he said, trying to smile. I couldn't say anything. He gave me a quick, tight hug. Then the elevator doors opened. He got in. The doors closed. He was gone. I live here now, in this glass box in the sky. Every morning, I see the city spread out in front of me. Every night, I watch the lights come on. I got the amazing view I wanted, but it's not peaceful anymore. It's just a reminder. He gave me this incredible place and showed me what it felt like to be truly seen for who I am. And then he left me here. The view is beautiful, but all I see is him. He showed me what it was like to touch the sky, and then left me here, all by myself.